If you're a big swim team and you like to order a lot of gear, maybe you ought to check out Swim Outlet Team Division for these reasons. Swim teams receive a 10% discount on bulk orders. Swim teams or organizations get an 8% commission on referred sales. You'll also like their customization services, which is affordable and available at all times during the year for all team gear. With over 50,000 items in stock, you can get most anything you want. Swim Outlet Team Division. You need to try it out. You'll be glad you did.
Welcome to the Morning Swim Show for Friday, June 14th, 2013. I'm your host, Jeff Cummings. Today in the Finis Monitor, we'll be joined by McGee Moody. He is the head swimming coach at the University of South Carolina, and this week he was named an assistant coach for the American team headed to the World University Games in Russia next month. And McGee joins us now from Columbia, South Carolina. Coach, it's good to see you again. How are you?
I'm good. How are you doing?
I'm doing great. So congratulations on this, your first international coaching assignment. Must be a great feeling.
Yeah. It's an honor. I mean, being asked to represent the U.S. team on the coaching staff is huge, and it's something that I take very seriously. And I've got some big shoes to fill. And Coach Rich DeSelm is an outstanding coach, and he's a good friend of mine. And I hope he recovers from his surgery quickly. And I'm going to do the best I can to do the position justice and help out however possible.
And I imagine you got everything updated in terms of your passport, so there's no last minute things that need to go on.
No, just a lot of scrambling to get the travel done and making sure logistics are right and getting in touch with the head coaches and starting to fulfill my duties as the assistant coach.
Speaking of that, what have they told you about what your duties are as an assistant coach for an international team?
Right now, what we're working on is it's a different kind of trip. It's a shorter trip, and it's not one where we're going to have a lot of opportunities to train, I guess, the athletes that are coming in. It's a quick trip. We're leaving on July 6th. We all meet out in Houston. We're going to be flying from Houston over to Moscow, and then Moscow on to Kazan. So technically, we're only going to have about 4 to 5 practices with this group as we're trying to put everything together and get them ready to race. So right now, a lot of what we're doing is collecting information from their direct coaches, from their personal coaches, and starting to put that together for our head coaches so they kind of have an idea of the best way to divvy up the responsibilities between the assistant coaches and the best way to move forward as we manage the performances of the athletes.
Probably one of the good things is that you're going to have a South Carolina swimmer there, Michael Flach, doing the 200 fly. So that probably made the assignment a little bit sweeter, knowing that you're going to have one of your own personal swimmers to lead.
Absolutely. Having Michael on the team, that was a huge accomplishment for our program. And I think it's important for me to take a second and recognize my assistant coaches and my staff that have made kind of this a reality. A lot of times, Jeff, the head coaches get a lot of the credit and the positions and things like that, and sometimes the head coaches that do so much of the work, they get kind of left out in the mix. And Jason Memont, my associate head coach, has worked with Michael extensively over the past 4 years, and had a lot of influence on bringing him to where he is. And Jason deserves a lot of the credit, as well as our entire staff does. I mean, there's a saying, Bear Bryant had a saying, you never hire an assistant coach that you can't learn something from. Well, we kind of take that to heart here, and I always try to bring in assistants that are going to complement our program and make us better. We've got a great group here with Jason Memont and Randy Vogel and Josh Morgan and Kevin Swander, and they work really hard to make these things happen. So, having Michael on this team is something that is a goal of ours as far as putting our athletes on these international teams, and we'll continue to try to do that for years to come. But, I want to make sure that everybody understands that it is a group effort. Every one of these swimmers that are going, there's head coaches there, but there are also assistant coaches that put in a lot of time.
Well, as Hillary Clinton said, it takes a village.
That's right. Absolutely.
Well, I don't think it'll be just like, I know you said you won't have much time to work with these kids, but I mean, they're all college swimmers. You're a college coach, so you've seen them racing and competing. You probably know their coaches very well, so you probably will be able to work with, I'm sure you'll have like a group of swimmers, and you'll probably say, well, at least I've seen them race, and I kind of know what's going on with them.
Absolutely. I mean, you do get a lot of feedback. A lot of the kids on the team, you recruited them coming out of high school, so you know a good bit about them. And our role now is to get them there and help manage their performance, manage their races, remind them of the little things they need to do during the race. These are not, these are elite level athletes. These are not new kids in the program, so they know what to expect and they know what to do at this level. And it's our job to take them out there and remind them of the little things they've got to do and just kind of keep them on task as we go through this whole meet and help them. We walk out of here with a lot of lifetime bests and a great team performance from the USA program.
Well, I've talked to a lot of coaches who have been named to international teams over the years, but remind viewers what the process is to even be considered to be a coach for an international team.
I think what you mainly have to look at is, I talked to Greg Troy years ago, and I said, Coach, this is really something that's a goal of mine. I really want to be on these international staffs. And he said real simply, put people on the team. Keep putting people on the team. Keep putting people on the team. And so that's what we kind of first and foremost have worked towards, our own individual athletes and getting them on that team. Your name goes on a coach's list, and then out of that list, when your athlete makes the team, they go through and they select a coaching staff based on the list. And obviously, coaches that have athletes at the meet take priority. And they're given an invitation, and you either accept or decline, and then they continue to put together the best coaching staff they can find through that process.
So when Michael was named to the team, did you think in the back of your mind maybe they're going to give me the call, or was it even on your radar at all?
Well, I think initially, it was in the back of my mind, but you try not to tend, the first thing we thought about was, okay, how do we need to best prepare him for this meet to have him go race fast? But, in a best case scenario for any coach, obviously, is to be able to accompany your swimmer to the meets, because you can keep a direct eye. Most coaches are very hands-on and very, they like to keep a thumb on the athlete and know exactly what's going on. And it's also in the athlete's best interest to have somebody take that trip with them. And especially in Michael's case, where this is his first international trip as well, for us to be able to go over there together and be able to work through this meet and hopefully put up some lifetime bests. And, the goal is to get on the medal stand over there. So, I think it's a big thing all around for both the swimmer and the coach.
So how's his training going in preparation for this? He's only doing the 200 fly, is that correct, in Russia?
Yeah. It's going well right now. He's had some really good training. I think he's been training, especially recently, faster than he has in the past. He was down about a week and a half ago with some sickness, but he's bounced back from that pretty well. And Mike has a way of kind of, as we get closer to an event, he really starts to focus in, not only physically but mentally. And we're still in the weight room. We made the decision not to rest him for World Champ Trials. I sat down with Jason Memont and we discussed it, and we're going to take him straight through that meet. And the goal is, like I said, to put him on the medal stand when we get over there, and we want to put him in the best position possible to do that. So he's going to go to World Champ Trials and he's going to race, but we're going to rest after that in hopes of having a great showing out in Russia.
Yeah, that must have been a tough decision for you guys to have him go to the big national meet of the year and have him not be in his best condition.
Well, we'll see. Mike always races hard, and he's still going to put up good times. And I think, if anything, if he goes out there and has a solid meet, that just gives him confidence as we get on the plane to head overseas that he's going to be fast. And he puts in the work, and I think he's one of those guys that right now he's really on the edge. Once he's really hungry to make that next step into the top level elite swimmers. One of his goals is Rio in 2016, and our job as a coaching staff is to put him in the best position possible to make that. So looking at a quad plan and and getting the coaching staff together and talking about what we want to do with him is pretty paramount. And like I said, I trust my assistant coaches a lot, and we discuss a lot of the decisions that we make. And so far things have paid off pretty well for him. So we're gonna keep moving forward like this.
2012 was a good year for the Gamecocks. You had Michael make the final at the Olympic trials in 200 fly. Amanda Rudquist made the NCAA final in the 200 breast. It appeared that the 2013 championship season didn't go as well. Am I correct in saying that, or am I misinterpreting the results?
Our men were very good. Our women were a little bit off, and it was one of those things where, as a coach, you really kind of battle back and forth, because on one hand, our guys were blowing the doors off the SEC championship meet, and on the other hand, our women were not having a great meet. And so what we had to do as a staff is sit down and figure out, okay, where did we go wrong with the women? What did we do right with the men? And from a psychological standpoint, you're torn. You don't want to praise the men too much for the things that they're doing, because it will affect the women's meet. But at the same token, you don't want to downplay the men because they're having such an outstanding meet. We went on to NCAAs. We actually had a pretty good meet at NCAAs. Our men, we had 800 freestyle relay. We're All-American, and had some great swims out of all of our guys. And with the way the new setup was, we actually had our top 200 freestyler. Well, not our top 200 freestyle, Gerard Rodriguez, actually put him on a breaststroke leg in a 400 medley relay, and we didn't know what to expect from that, and he actually won a 54.9, which we were pretty excited about. So,
wow.
We had a good meet, good end of the year, but like I said, our SEC meet, our guys were on fire. Our girls didn't have the best meet, and we've spent a lot of time in the off season talking about that and how we need to improve on that, and as a coaching staff, what we can do better as athletes, what they need to do differently. And I think as we go into next year and the fall season, our girls are in a good place and they're strong. We had a very good class coming in, so I'm not worried about them personally. We're going to get up and go race just like we do every week. So I think they're going to be okay. The guys, like I said, our guys are going to be pretty good next year. We've got a really fast class coming in, and we get one of our redshirt guys that we had from last year, a young man named Kevin Leithold, who's a German swimmer who. He had a great German Nationals, went over and went 49.8 in the 100 at German Nationals. So we've got a good group coming in, and I think our men are going to be stronger, and I think our women are going to be better than they have been in the past. And I think that's a lot better than where we were at SECs because we didn't swim that well. So should be good to see where we are. I'm excited already for August and getting everybody back here.
Well, I'm curious, when you talk about the men's team doing so well and the women's team not doing so well because it's a combined team, how does that affect the chemistry when they're preparing for NCAAs?
It was tough. We had to separate things, and it's hard for a coach from a combined program to talk about separating things out, but we really had to take two different approaches. We had to handle anything with the women's program a lot differently than we handled it with the men, and I think we had to in some ways individualize the athletes. But with both sides, you keep things as positive as you can all the time. You address the issues that you had on both sides, but you definitely have to take a different approach with it.
Well, I know you're excited to look about the upcoming college season, but first you got a big trip to Russia to get ready for.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure it's going to be a lot of fun and just the start of what I'm sure will be many, many, many international coaching gigs. Who knows? You and Michael may be staying on the deck in Rio in 2016.
That's a goal, and we'll see what happens. I hope that's the case because he deserves it. So we're going to do our best to put him there.
All right. Well, thanks so much, Coach. It was great talking to you. We'll see you in Indy, and have safe travels to Russia.
All right. Thanks, Jeff. I appreciate it.
All right. So that was McGee Moody joining us in the Finesse Monitor, and that will wrap it up for today's edition of the Morning Swim Show. Be sure to follow us, as always, on swimmingworld.com and follow us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Jeff Cummings. Thanks for watching.